Артуra Heyli, page 323. The manservant took Kent O'Donnell's topcoat and hat, hanging them in a closet of the gloomy, lofty hallway. Looking about him, O'Donnell wondered why anyone wealthy or not would choose to live in such surroundings. Then he reflected that perhaps to someone like Eustace Swan, the gaunt spaciousness, the beamed and panelled opulence, the walls of cold chiselled stone conveyed a feudal sense of power, linked through history to older days and places. O'Donnell speculated on what would happen to this house when the old man died. More than likely it would become a museum or an art gallery, or perhaps merely stand empty and decay as so many of these places had. The notion that someone else would take it as a home seemed inconceivable. This was a place which logic said should close its doors at 5 until next morning. Then he remembered that within these austere walls Denise must have spent her childhood. He wondered if she had been happy here. "Mr. Swan is a little tired today, sir," the man-servant said. "He asked if you would mind if he received you in his bedroom." "I don't mind," O'Donnell said. It occurred to him that perhaps the bedroom might be an appropriate place for what he had to say. If Eustace Swan had apoplexy as a result, at least there would be a handy place to lay him down. He followed the man-servant up the wide, curved stairway, then down a corridor. There were footsteps, silenced by deep broadloom. At a heavy studded door the man tapped lightly and lifted a wrought iron latch. He ushered O'Donnell into the spacious room beyond. At first O'Donnell failed to see Eustace Swan. Instead his eyes were caught by a massive fireplace framing a roaring log fire. The heat from the fire was like an impact, the room almost unbearably hot on the already mild late August morning. Then he saw Swan propped up by pillows in a huge four-poster bed. A monogrammed robe draped around his shoulders. As he approached, O'Donnell noticed with shock how frail the old man had become since their last meeting, the night of the dinner with Orden Brown and Denise. "Thank you for coming," Swan said. His voice, too, was weaker than before. He motioned his visitor to a chair beside the bed. As he seated himself, O'Donnell said, "I heard you wanted to see me." In his own mind he was already revising some of the forthright statements which earlier he had planned to make. Nothing would change his own stand, of course, concerning Joe Pearson, but at least he could be gentle. O'Donnell had no wish now to tangle with this ailing old man. Any contest between them would be too uneven. "Joe Pearson has been to see me," Swan said. 3 days ago, I think it was. So that was where Pearson had been those missing hours, when they were trying to locate him. "Yes," O'Donnell answered. "I imagined he would. He told me that he's leaving the hospital." The old man's voice sounded weary. There was no hint so far of the denunciation of O'Donnell which the chief of surgery had expected. "Curious about what was coming next," he answered. "Yes, that's true." The old man was silent. Then he said, "I suppose there are some things no one can control." There was a trace of bitterness now, or was it resignation? It was hard to be sure. "I think there are," O'Donnell answered gently. "When Joe Pearson came to see me," Eustace Swan said, "he made 2 requests. The first was that my donation to the hospital building fund should have no stipulations attached. I have agreed." There was a pause. O'Donnell silent, as the significance of the words sank in. The old man went on. "The second request was a personal one. You have an employee at the hospital. His name is Alexander, I believe." "Yes," O'Donnell said wonderingly. "John Alexander. He's a laboratory technologist." "They lost a child." O'Donnell nodded. "Joe Pearson asked that I pay the boy's way through a medical school. I can do it, of course, quite easily. Money at least has a few remaining uses." Swan reached for a thick manila envelope which had been lying on the quilt. "I have already instructed my lawyers. There will be a fund enough to take care of fees and for him and his wife to live comfortably. Afterwards, if he chooses to specialize, there will be money for that too." The old man paused, as if tired by speaking. Then he continued, "What I have in mind now is something more permanent. Later there will be others, I suppose equally deserving. I would like the fund to continue and to be administered by the 3 counties medical board. I shall insist on only one condition." Eustace Swan looked squarely at O'Donnell. He said defiantly, "The fund will be named the Joseph Pearson Medical Endowment. Do you object?" Moved and ashamed, O'Donnell answered, "Sir, far from objecting. In my opinion, it will be one of the finest things you have ever done." Page 325.